Hello and welcome to Tea with Lilybet. I've been decluttering my home since the start of this year. I'm 6 months in and I've started to notice that my motivation has been flagging a little bit. So in this video I want to talk about some things that you can do to keep yourself motivated when you're decluttering your home. In the beginning, I couldn't wait to get started with my decluttering project, and I even had to be careful not to overdo it. I had been living in a disorganized home for many years, and a lot of that happened because I got chronic fatigue syndrome around 10 years ago. Since then, it's taken most of my energy just to keep up with the bare minimum of what I needed to do around my home. So I really didn't have the luxury of thinking strategically about my space. But at the end of last year, I noticed how much the disorganization and clutter was getting in the way of me being creative and doing the things that I loved. So I decided it was time to do something about it. I set an intention to create greater balance between being organized and being creative. And that set me on the path to decluttering my whole home. Since January, I've been going through my home room by room and I've made amazing progress with becoming more organized. I'm well over halfway and that declutter fatigue is really starting to bite. The areas that I have left to declutter are a particularly nasty cupboard in my hallway that is full of junk, my bathroom, my garage, and a couple of spaces in my bedroom, which are this chest of drawers and some overhead cupboards in my closet. Each space seemed a little bit too hard and I couldn't decide what to declutter next. And I came to the conclusion that I was having trouble deciding because I was tired, I was fatigued. I've done so much decluttering and yeah, I've hit a little bit of a wall. I want to get this project done, so here are some tips that I've been implementing to get myself back on track and finish decluttering my home. My first tip is to take a look at the bigger picture. Why did I start decluttering my home in the first place? Well, I've touched on that already. I was really struggling in my creative life. Every time I go to do something like write a song or film a YouTube video, I was struggling to find the equipment I need, to find an organized space in which I could work, and generally just feeling a bit stressed about the chaotic state of my home. The clutter was starting to get in the way, especially my home office where I was storing a lot of the things that I needed. I also wanted my personal and work routines to run more smoothly. I was getting tired of not being able to find foods in my pantry, and I was even rebuying things that I already had because I didn't know what was in there. My heavier kitchen items were in really inconvenient spots, and so it just put me off when I would go to cook. And finally, I wanted to live in a more organized and calm environment. The cluttered state of my home was creating stress for me. Life is challenging enough without having that extra layer to deal with. And I felt like having a more orderly home was something I could do for myself to create a more peaceful environment. My next tip is to think about how much you've achieved so far. For me, I have already decluttered quite a few spaces, including my kitchen, my pantry, my home office. I did a big clean out of my back garden. I've decluttered my linen cupboard, my clothing, excess artwork off the walls of my home, and I've even decluttered my laundry. I remember what a mountain it seemed in the beginning. Thinking about what I've achieved so far has reminded me of what I'm capable of, and that's really helped me to keep going. The next tip is to think about how much you've learned about yourself and your needs, and also how you like to declutter. I've realized for various reasons there are some items that are harder for me to let go of than others. For example, when I decluttered my home office, I had a few items from the past in there. I put them in there because I didn't know what else to do with them. But they were taking up space and they were really impacting my ability to use that space. But when I went to let go of them, all of these memories came flooding back. And yeah, it triggered a lot of emotions for me that I didn't really expect. It kind of forced me to do some processing of the past, which I thought was a really positive thing. In letting go of those items in a conscious and respectful way, I've honored my past experiences while still moving forward. Through this process, I've also learned to be gentler on myself. If there's an item that I'm just not willing to give up yet, I've put it aside and allowed myself a little bit of time to process before I try and let it go. There's no rush. It's okay to put things aside and consider decluttering them when you're ready. My next tip to get your motivation back is to consider the benefits of decluttering. For me, Decluttering and reorganizing my space has transformed my life in a number of ways. My home office is much more functional. I can find everything that I need. Because I've designated that room as a drop-off point for my musical equipment that I use for my work, I've given myself permission to allow that room to get messy when it needs to be messy, knowing that I've got a maintenance plan in place to clean it up on a regular basis. My kitchen is so much easier to use and to clean. I can easily see all the food that I have in my pantry. I can grab my pots and pans very quickly and easily without too much effort. And it's just made my meal preparation a lot less stressful. My clothing cupboard is a dream to use now. I have been loving my winter capsule. Everything is a lot easier to see, and it's just easier for me to put outfits together because everything goes well together. Gotten rid of all the clothes that I never wear. I put away my summer clothes, and I've divided my cupboard into my day wear and my lounge wear. The fact is, my home is just a lot more functional. Decluttering has reduced my stress and my sensory overload. Simplifying my bedroom decor has created a peaceful and calm environment in which I can rest and sleep. My next tip is to just take a break. It's okay to take some time off between decluttering tasks to rest and regroup. Sometimes taking a break gives you an opportunity to get a different perspective and some new ideas. For example, you could look at some decluttering videos to get some inspiration. It's also a chance to step back and do some planning. While taking a break from decluttering, I've been able to think about some items that I can move out of my home office and put into the hallway cupboard, which will open up a bit more space for me in that room. I've also realized that it's okay to take a little bit longer to declutter some of my spaces. In the beginning, I was decluttering rooms in one day, and after doing that in quite a few rooms, I'm now going to take it a little bit easier on myself and break my decluttering tasks down into smaller chunks. You know, it's okay that I'm resting up and giving myself a little bit of time to regroup and regain my energy for the next task. Use your break to reconsider items that you put in your maybe pile. When I did my wardrobe declutter, I did put quite a few items into storage that I wanted to reconsider at some point. I think having that time off is a great moment to go back and look at those items and think about whether you want to keep them or not. And my final tip is to understand that you never really finish decluttering. So it's really important to take a long-term view. While I have set the intention of finishing my initial decluttering tasks this year, I understand that I'm going to have to maintain those spaces. Life doesn't stand still, and our homes are dynamic environments. Your things are constantly being utilized, they're being moved around. Older items are wearing out and may need to be decluttered. New items are coming into your life. So decluttering really needs to be a part of maintaining our homes and our lives. And that's why it's important to stay relaxed and not put too much pressure on yourself to do everything right away and make it all perfect. Decluttering doesn't happen in a vacuum. We all have lives and other things that we need to do. So taking a break is a great opportunity to sit back, enjoy what you've already achieved, and the beautiful environment that you are creating. Well, that's it from me. If you enjoyed this video, you'd be helping me out a lot if you gave it a thumbs up. And if you're into getting organized, intentional living, or wellness, I would love to welcome you to this channel as a new subscriber. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and select all so that you get notified of all my new videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.